Not your standard board meeting tonight. We're going to wait. We anticipate having a quorum at 6:30. That we'll be able to vote. We can start the meeting. As some of you know, Trustee Marco is recovering from surgery, and he's doing fine, and we're hoping he was hoping to be here today, but he's going to just take it easy for another couple of days before he resumes activity. So let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice that? Yes, sir. Okay. All right, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice that this meeting was given in a revised annual meeting notice, which was emailed to the Record, News, Herald, the Office of the County Clerk, and posted on the PCCC website and bulletin boards on July 15, 2024. Do a roll call.
Alumni Rep Buchanan. Here. Trustee Octor.
Here.
Trustee Drakeford.
Here.
Trustee Globen.
Here.
Trustee Diodene.
Here.
Trustee Moody. Trustee Nutter. Trustee Poe. Trustee Ramirez. Trustee Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Tanis. Chairman Marco.
Okay, first, we'd like to welcome our new alumni rep, and we're going to let you introduce yourselves to the board.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Buchanan, and I am a new alumni at the State Community College. My major is public health, and I was born in Jamaica, and I migrated here some decades ago, and I started to. Well, I didn't get to go to college, but after my children were all grown, I decided that it's my turn. So I decided that, and I graduated one of my daughter she graduated from William Madison in 22nd, and I graduated from here in 23rd. And that was absolutely amazing. And also, I going to start Montclair State University on September 4th, where I will be pursuing my major in public health and also my master's.
Very good.
All right, so we will wait for consideration of minutes until we have a quorum, and now I'll turn it over to Janet.
Good evening, everyone. We're back. Thank you for having us, Dr. Rose. Thank you for inviting us again. So our department, Continuing Education and Workforce Development, presented to the June board meeting. My name is Janet Albrecht. I'm the Dean of Continuing Education. And one of our biggest challenges, I always think, is telling the story concisely of what we do. Because we have so many different programs, our staff are involved in activities throughout the county. So tonight we will focus on one area of our programming, and that's the programs at the Public Safety Academy in Wayne. So staff will tell you about how they're training students, but also how these programs are making the county a better place to live and work, and also a safer place to live and work. And thanks to their hard work and dedication, they're also attracting students and employers from outside the county. Although our first priority is always in the county. So staff will introduce themselves. They'll tell you about their programs. I will be the timekeeper. As you saw in June, that enthusiasm and excitement about what we do kind of spills over. So on that note, we'll get right to it. So you can introduce yourselves and just tell me when to advance.
Good evening. My name is Jason McCombs. I'm the director of Fire and EMS at the Public Safety Academy in Wayne, Passaic County Community College. I've been here for about 5 years now. We are you know, we're like a family up there. We do a lot of stuff together. Most of us are either volunteer career firefighters or EMS. And, you know, we kind of treat ourselves up there like we do in the firehouse. We do a lot of stuff together. Like I said, we're like a family. We're always worried about learning and teaching and training and building the future of the fire service leaders and EMS leaders. So we have a presentation prepared for you. This is gonna just give everybody a background on what we do, the amount of work we do, the amount of challenges we have. A lot of stuff that goes on up there. There's a lot of classes. There's several different programs, and we're just gonna give you a little background on that. Since 2020, I started in 2018 as a director. I've been an instructor since 2007 or 8. I can't remember what year it was. But since 2020, it was pre-pandemic. We were just starting with career classes, major career classes. We always did them, but it was always on a smaller portion. It was usually just Patterson, Passaic, and Wayne. So we started to see a little bit of need for the career classes outside of the county. I made a connection with somebody at Jersey City, and they were having a tough time at Morris County, so they reached out to us and they said, we want to do a career program with you. So we took our career program that was there and we redeveloped it. We made it pretty much everything they needed. So this was July of 2020. We had 47 students in the middle of COVID. It was pretty much one of the hardest things I had to do. I have a full-time job and this was part-time. So this was, it was nonstop for, 7 days a week. A lot of phone calls, a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of fighting, a lot of tears. So mostly for me. But since 2020, the Fire Academy has trained 2,027 students with thousands of hours of training. Each student does about 200 hours for firefighter 1, about 80 hours for firefighter 2. Hazmat awareness, hazmat operations, all built into those programs. Those are just some of the base programs that we do for a beginner level firefighter. The campus is set on 22 acres of land behind PCTI. We have our main campus. You guys are our main building up there. We've all been up there. That's got the classrooms. Behind that, there's a large garage that holds our apparatus. It holds two fire engines, 2 ladder trucks, and a utility vehicle that we use for transporting materials back and forth. We're looking at some new, a couple, maybe 3 or 4 more fire engines. Just kidding. But we have right now, we're kind of busting at the seams with a lot of stuff that we have in there. We share the building with OEM. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in that building. We have an air cascade system to refill our bottles. We have tons of equipment. We treat it just like a firehouse. So anything that you would need to do in a real firehouse, that's how we treat it at the academy. So it's like almost like a real life experience. And then usually at the end of the class, we'll do what's called a rolling response. We'll have the students actually get in the, we'll have them clean up the firehouse, and then, we'll set off tones. They have to put their gear on, get on the truck and respond to the burn building, which is set behind that. The burn building is one of the original structures up there also from 2004. It needs some work, but it's still holding its own. It does the job it needs for right now. Should go back one, I'm sorry. So all in-county registers, students come in, there's no charge for the firefighter 1 students, which we appreciate that. That's a huge help for the towns inside the county. They're struggling. 90% of the towns in this county are struggling for volunteers. And the last thing to do is make them struggle more with attaching a bill at the end of it. So we don't charge them. The out-of-county students that come in, we charge them. And that's where the career classes have come in huge for us, where we can take that and build upon it and bring money back to the college and offset some of our expenses, because it is very expensive to run a fire academy. Other departments from outside the county, this is just in the last few years that we started picking this up. As you can see here, there's 20 or 18 towns that this is just a small portion. I couldn't fit them all on the slides on how many out-of-county towns that are coming to us now. Jersey City being one of the biggest one, which we're starting another class in September of 24 from Jersey City. We just picked up Hoboken. We actually have towns from Bergen County coming to us now. I just spoke to somebody from Teaneck. Bergen County is one of the biggest fire academies in the state, and the Bergen County career towns are coming to us for their training, which is a huge, vote of confidence for all of us and all of our instructors that we're able to get that, good name out there. All right, our strategic priority is to provide innovative academic programs and training that meet the current and future needs of students, employers, and the community. Like I said, we rebuilt our career program. We're always working hand in hand with the Division of Fire Safety to make sure that the Firefighter One programs for anybody in county is up to date. We recently, in the last few years, we developed a hybrid program through our online learning platform, JV Learn. That online program has helped the students tenfold with the ability to have an online background and extra training materials at no cost. The state pays for that. The book is 1,500 pages, and you have somebody that may be out of school for 10, 12, 15, 20 years that haven't opened the book. They might have never went to college. They barely got through high school, but now they're coming here and we're expecting them to take a college level course and just pass it with no, back in the day when we took it, you passed the state test. It was like, all right, here you're a firefighter. Now you have to do all of our online work. You have an in-house final and you have a state exam. You have 4 state exams you have to complete. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. And I really, without, Mike and our team work, Jim Harney, he's one of the guys who handles all the online platform stuff. They have done excellent work for our students and for the community.
It's a little slow, there we go.
I got a little delay in there. All right, so our community impact, we have, our instructors have hundreds, if not thousands of years of experience. We have 53 instructors or 55 instructors now that are all either career volunteer firefighters that have dedicated their lives to the fire service. I don't want to throw out Mike's age here, but Mike taught me when I was a brand new firefighter 25 years ago. And Mike's still here and he still does an excellent job. And, all of the instructors that were there back then, most of them are still sticking around, but it's years and years and years of knowledge that they bring to the table that not only do they do it here, but then they go back to their own communities and they volunteer their time, or they work for Patterson or Newark or Jersey City, and they go back and give back to those communities also. So it's like I said, it's not just a family at the college, it's a family back in the fire service together. Next slide. All right, so some of our courses include Fire One, which is I talked about earlier, it's 200 hours. Fire Two is 80 hours. Fire One is your basic level course. That's where you only need that to become a firefighter. Firefighter Two is more advanced course where you can, it's more for our officers and our leaders of the fire service, where they're going to take that leadership role in their departments. All right, ICS, which is the Incident Command System, it's a national system of basically keeping track of what's going on at a fire scene, and that is a national standard that we all have to do no matter what. It's hours and hours and hours that we have to complete. Unfortunately, the federal government makes us do this, but they don't give us any money to help us, so we have to do it. Fire instructor, live burn sessions, which we do probably 50 to 60 a year, where the outside, the communities from the surrounding towns, they will come to our burn building. We will supply an instructor and a safety officer, and they will basically use our burn building to practice live fire training. We have the burn building, we have search and rescue scenarios, confined space, natural gas props, and we'll talk about that in a little while. All right, we have the career firefighter program, which consists of Fire One, Fire Two, hazmat awareness, hazmat operations, and it's more of a physical training program that we can basically push them a little bit harder than we do on the volunteers. Driver simulator training, vehicle extrication, and rope rescue, high angle rescue, which is another huge part of the program. We're just starting to build that up now again also. Our props include the Class B burn building, a car fire prop, which actually looks like a little car that fire shoots out of it. It's pretty funny. Some natural gas props like a barbecue grill, some valves that you would see on the outside of a building, a barbecue prop, search and rescue props. We get vehicles in all the time from a junkyard. You might see, old junky cars up there, but that's them cutting up the cars, and then we take them back, every once in a while. And then we have a roof cutting simulator. That's an actual building that looks like it's a burn building, but it's just for cutting roofs. All right, and then here's some pictures of our building. I don't want to block your view. some pictures of our scenarios and buildings, our students lined up in formation. This was one of the classes during COVID, they got the masks on.
First class.
That was our first class. All right, this was actually a great day in history. This is one of my fire classes from 2006. And then this is what the live burn rooms look like. That's an actual, it's supposed to be a bed. It's filled with water and then gas shoots up through the water. And then we have simulators and training aids in there where you flow the water and it actually hits sensors. And those sensors have to have enough water on it where it'll actually tell you, you put enough water to put this fire out. And we can control the amount of time that the firefighters stay in the room. A little bit of an action shot. That's just from the other angle. And one of this might be two students. You have the instructor that's right behind them, kind of pushing them in the door because the new guys, they don't really want to go in too far. You got to inch them in and then you got to just kind of push them in and let them go. But the instructors are always hands-on. They're right there. So a lot of times with with instructors or teachers in the college, most of the time it's sitting up in a classroom. It's a lot of, hard work behind a computer. Our guys are actually putting on turnout gear, putting on Scott packs, going into burn buildings, running up and downstairs and stretching hose. So they're taking the physical end of it and they're getting really beat up. I've done it. I did it for years. I remember going home. I was dehydrated. I was beat up. Like I just spent 2 days at a fire, but it's for the future. All right, some of our future plans. We're currently designing a new state-of-the-art burn building made of shipping containers. This is to basically offset the burn building that we have now. It's just something so we can include more students. There's always a lot of downtime. You can only have so many students going through the burn building at one time. We can bring in as many instructors as we want, but we have limited time inside the burn building. This will allow us to run multiple scenarios at a time. With this new burn building, you'll see pictures in a little while. It's eco-friendly. It's got a clean burn system in it. It's quick relighting. Right now, it takes 5 to 6 minutes to get the burn building back up and get a good temperature. This one takes about 25 seconds because it's more confined, it's a tighter space, and it's got different insulation on the walls. It's a smaller footprint. It's scalable for the future. So right now we're looking at 4 containers in a box formation, but in the future we can add on to it to go a little bit higher, a little bit wider, so we can make it a bit bigger. And smart technology for safer training. They can actually control. We can control everything from outside the building, inside the building, or the Lion company can actually control it from their quarters. They can diagnose stuff from the field, so they don't have to come out and send a technician out to repair something. They can do it from their offices. All right, technology integration, and Scott's going to talk about this a little bit too. We're looking at more virtual reality programs. Right now, we have a driving simulator. Scott is looking for an ambulance simulator. We're in the process of purchasing one now. That ambulance simulator is basically like an ambulance, the back of an ambulance inside of one of the classrooms. So we're going to take that. We're going to take the driving simulator. We're going to put it in a classroom, and that's going to turn into our simulator room. I recently spoke to a couple of people with virtual reality. There's so many programs with VR that you can literally, one guy can sit here, one guy can sit over there, one guy can sit at their house, and they can all look at the same fire at the same time and do training. Because you can do training from home, training from anywhere. So it's a huge step for us. All right, and physical fitness areas are always in the back of my mind. We're running out of room, but we need places to keep the firefighters in shape in their downtime where they can always train. All right, this is a drawing of the new burn building. It's kind of hard to see it from here. This is all I got so far, but it's 2 levels. It's got 1 burn room on the second floor, and then 2 burn rooms on the second floor. And then you can see the smokestacks keep everything nice and. Again, we're also worried about PCTI with the smoke that's going to come out of it. With this, that smokestack should be high enough where it'll get it away from PCTI, and we won't have to worry about any smoke drifting towards that. All right, this is just 1 container, but this is what you would just multiply this by 4, and this is what it looks like. Okay. Scott.
That was fire, and we have emergency medical services.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Van Ballen. I'm the program coordinator to the EMS program at the Public Safety Academy. Tonight, we're going to talk about, some of the things with continuing ed in EMS. The program itself is in line with college semesters. So we run basically spring, 2 summer classes and a fall class. And based on the needs of the community, should we need to run a dual RAM program, we could run 2 spring classes on alternating nights or 2 fall classes on alternating nights. Typically, the first night is a Monday, Wednesday night, and then we could run a Tuesday, Thursday. So we could run 2 dual RAM programs. It's nice to do that because then I can bounce people from one class to the other should they miss a day, but that's all to meet the needs of whatever our students are. If we have a large interest, we increase the number of classes we run. So the program itself is considered a hybrid, as Jason mentioned about the fire side. There's an online component to this, so the student will go home first day, they'll do some online work, they'll come back to the college campus, and they'll do the hands-on to the information that they learned at night. And what's nice about the hybrid program is it offers the ability for each student who may learn at different levels, the ability to watch it multiple times, to watch it slower, to watch it faster, to speed through it, so that they can pick it up at their own pace. And that's a great component of the hybrid program. We give about 80 hours of accreditation to their online time that they're doing. And then there's approximately 120 hours of in-classroom, in-person time that they do, where they demonstrate their psychomotor skills to instructors. There's a 10-hour hospital clinical time where they, in conjunction in our partnership with St. Joseph's Hospital in Patterson, they'll go down and they'll do 10 hours of hospital time at the emergency room and see how the other side of the EMS field operates. So they know, once the patient's handed off from them, the continuum of care at the hospital level. Upon successfully completing our program, they'll take a final exam and then they'll be able to sit for what's the national registry. They get licensure in EMT at a national level where they could go anywhere. I think 40 something states actually offer reciprocity to that training. So if they took it here, they could go to Florida and be an EMT in Florida. All right, so student enrollment, there's a wide variety of ways that a student enrolls into our program. It's a balancing act that the staff performs very well. Janet, the staff downtown here at the main campus, they do a fantastic job in trying to coordinate it. So we have the training fund, which is a New Jersey state offered program that takes money from tickets and puts it into a fund and then pays EMTs that are volunteering at volunteer agencies. So that's one option. Self-pay, obviously. We have credit students, so we have dual enrolled credit students. We have college, high school students that are dual enrolled for college credits. Grant funded programs, they pop up now and then, and we do workforce development, which we spoke at one of the last meetings about somebody who went through that. So speaking about the dual enrollment, we do have a very good working relationship with Passaic County Technical Institute. We put hundreds of students through there. They have their medical arts program, and those who successfully complete our course will get college credits while they're in high school, which is a fantastic opportunity for them. So our impact in the community over the years, having trained thousands. So I went back to the data and tried. State system only tracks so far back. I've been with the program since the inception of the Public Safety Academy in 2003 at the lowest level, and then I've obviously moved my way up to where I am now. So I've been here a long time, and I tried to date back into the system, and it wouldn't let me go back. I was able to get back to 2013, and I was like, wow, that's kind of sad. I was hoping I could pull some real numbers out of it, but even from then, we've done thousands of students that have been trained in this program to become emergency medical technicians. Ideally for Passaic County, but as Jason mentioned, we do meet the needs of everybody. We include other municipalities and other counties as alike, filling essential positions, both volunteer, which is a huge impact to, volunteer communities. Your tax base and all that's, reduced because of the volunteers. And then obviously our career departments, Clifton, Patterson, Jersey City, whomever they send. We just finished a class with, we had Dover, Ridgewood, Nutley, and West Orange. They all successfully made it through. All the guys that sat for the class made it through and are waiting to take the national registry. So they're all career departments, going to, meet the needs of that communities, or those communities, I should say. Like Jason, our staff is comprised of volunteers and career people alike. All over. All towns in Passaic County. We have people who travel from out of county as well. We have instructors coming from Sparta that come down here and teach for us. So, they are from all over. They do volunteer and work within the communities that they're teaching these people to volunteer and or work in. I myself was Patterson, fireman, EMS, and I work here as well. So, that's just what we do. We work together, as Jason said, as a family. That's our staff for EMS. So future plans, Jason has touched on it. We're looking to develop a training simulator, including an ambulance. And it's kind of be all encompassing. So we already received high fidelity mannequins. These mannequins are extremely lifelike. We've never seen them. They breathe, they have a heartbeat, they can talk, they have mics in them that an instructor outside the room could communicate with you as if you were asking this mannequin a question. You ask them a question in plain language, and I will respond. Yes, I have abdominal pain. And if you push on it, it'll, ow. We can make them bleed. They can blink, they can cough. They are truly amazing. So we already have these mannequins, and we're trying to incorporate them into a full simulation, a full lifelike, as opposed to it just sitting on a counter somewhere. We'd like to stretcher to the ambulance, in the ambulance, what you're gonna be like when you're working inside of an ambulance. So there's gonna be a slide there's gonna be a short video that's gonna explain that. So here it is. This is not our college yet. The next presentation will have our college. So it's delivered, manufactured outside and brought and dropped off, and they built it in the classroom. So it's got cameras in it, and there's televisions attached to it. So it kind of gives you the whole train where you work kind of thing. It's hard to explain what it's like to be in the back of an ambulance when you're in a 50-foot classroom. Tight confined spaces, you can't walk around and dance around like you would, in an ambulance. It's a little bit different. This is also something we're looking at and included in this, the proposal is a rollover simulator, so motor vehicle accidents. This could be standalone the way it is, the removal of 4 victims from a vehicle. Jason spoke about extrication. Well, extrication on Jason's level is cutting the car apart on the fire side. Extrication on my level is taking the victim out of the vehicle. So this is how we could do it safely, all right, and not from a cut up, jagged vehicle. Then we can roll this. So this sits on an axis here, and here, and we could literally roll it in different angles and have to remove the person, because sitting flat in a seat is one thing. When they're hanging upside down on a 45-degree angle, it's a little bit different. You pop that seatbelt, the person falls out on their head. So, you can understand the complexity and the need for something like this, because again, it's hard to train if I'm telling you, hey, listen, the guy's gonna land on his head, So this will definitely demonstrate that in a much more realistic way. And these are those mannequins that I spoke about. They do connect to a sim pad, simulator pad, much like an iPad. And I could literally do anything. I could change the heart rate as you're checking it. I could change the blood pressure. It could drop. They are amazing mannequins for training. And then when we encompass it into everything else, along with the training, the driving simulators we have, it could be a full VR type thing. I think. Oh, and then lastly, obviously myself, the staff, both, to all you guys, we want to say thank you for your continued support and your, helping us, keeping the programs running and making them the success they are and the success we hope they continue to be. We want to move the programs into the future, hence the VR stuff, it's doesn't get much more futuristic than that. We look forward to working with all the staff here at the main campus, the staff up there, CE, and we just want to say thank you. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for all your support.
Questions?
Yeah.
I knew you would.
You did? No. Jason and Scott, and maybe you guys, I don't know if you can answer. I understand that these volunteers and we're not going to charge them. How much does it cost us on a per training or trainee basis? The one, like firefighter 1, firefighter 2, EMS trainee. How much does it cost the college?
So EMS, the volunteers are covered through training fund. So the state pays for our students to attend. So that New Jersey state training fund that I mentioned about the ticket, that's $1,500 that comes to us from the state per student.
Oh, okay, so that's.
All of our
It's only
students.
firefighter 1.
Yep, fire is
Firefighter 1 is the one that we don't charge.
Yeah, fire, yeah, okay.
For an
firefighter
exact
1 or
amount, I don't know, but it's approximately 200 hours at the instructor's rate, because it's really, you're only paying for that instructor time for the student. I would have to do some calculation. I never actually figured out what it actually costs what it would actually cost to have a student go through the class.
No, I'm wondering how much it's costing us.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have that. I think we can, because we've always, like I said, it's always been a free course.
No, I'm not questioning that, I'm just wondering, we're paying.
I will get an answer for that.
And we have the base annual
Yeah.
plan that we always
Yeah.
work on, and maybe it doesn't have.
Well,
I'm just curious,
Yeah, but even with that base annual plan, that tells how much we would make off it. It doesn't tell how much it actually costs for that student to go. And I think that's what you're looking for, right? So how
I'm
much-
just curious at how much it's costing us on a per session, per trainee basis to run one of these classes.
All right, yeah, I
Year-
understand. I'll look for it.
Just so you know, many years ago, there was, when this was being formulated to build this facility, there was that was a question. How much was it gonna cost the county or the college to do it? And now, 20, 35 years later, I'm curious as to what it is costing, that's all.
I'll have that for you.
I have a question. So how many times per year can a student take this?
For fire, you're allowed to take the test up to 3 times before you have to retake the whole course. I believe EMS is the same. Oh,
You're
EMS
saying-
is a little.
You're
EMS is
saying
a little-
take the test or take
Yeah,
the
so
course?
you said okay, so when you do the course, you have like the state board that you have to take, and how many times a year that is offered?
So the testing is offered, we offer it at the main campus through our Pearson Testing Center, which is a very good feather to our program that we could offer it on campus. A student can take the test up to 3 times on one initial EMT class, having sat through it. Then, if they fail it 3 times, they have to take a refresher course, which is a 24-hour refresher course. And then they can take it 3 more times for a total of 6 attempts. And then they would have to take the program all over. The course is offered many places. You could even do it at home if you wanted to. So there are a lot of options, but we offer it to our people, through our program here. And if the Pearson Testing Center or Testing Center is running, then we get them in there. If not, there's other options.
And these license are state board license.
So we used to be it used to be a state ran program which offered state certification. When they transitioned to national registry, they started calling it licensures. So much like a nurse, they're licensed as an EMT when they take the national registry. If they only qualify for state, they are certified.
Thank you.
For fire, we have the same situation. You're allowed to take the test up to 3 times. If you fail the 3rd time, you have to retake the whole course.
I have a question about the fire. So those fire that I see burning, are those real or is?
Yeah, that's real fire.
Very real.
It's all natural,
It gets hot.
yeah, it's all natural gas fed fires. They're all regulated, so it's not like a real fire in an actual house. It gets hot, but it never gets as hot. It's almost impossible to replicate a real fire inside of a house. We can't put all the furnishings inside of a house. The stuff that's on chairs and couches and furniture now, completely different than 50 years ago. You know, it was all natural fibers. This stuff's all synthetic. It burns a lot hotter. So if we were to actually put this stuff inside of a burn room, it would burn everybody. It would so confined, it would just not.
And it's controlled.
We are in a controlled environment where we can press a button, shut the whole building down, and vent it out within 10 seconds.
One more question I want to ask, because I was always curious, is it the thing that that's it's very heavy?
They make them crawl under little tables and chairs. I've seen them in action.
Oh, yeah.
Once the students pass the state exam, they apply to the Division of Fire Safety to get their certificates from the Division of Fire Safety, and that's what really makes them firefighters. Along with that certificate, there's 2 additional certificates, certifications that they obtain, and that's called, one is Pro Board, the other is IFSAC. Pro Board is recognized in 33 other states where they take the Fire 1 or Fire 2 program and they go to another state and it's a Pro Board state, they won't have to repeat that course again, in theory. And IFSAC is more for the military and international certifications. And those 2 certifications are included, which in other states, you would have to go and pay to get those certifications. In New Jersey, the Division of Fire Safety is not only paying for the textbook, but they're also paying for the additional Pro Board and IFSAC certifications.
Thank you.
And an audience member ask
Please,
a
of
question?
course.
I have a question for you. Are you able to simulate e-vehicle fires and extractions?
Not yet. The technology is still too new for the training. It's to be able to develop something like that right now, EV is very dangerous. Once those fires get started, there's really no way to stop them, with the exception of dumping it in a barrel of water. So they haven't come up with a training program. We have training materials and tools that we can use to put those fires out, but we don't have an actual simulated EV fire yet.
So the mannequin, would that be able to go inside of that rollover car where you would be able to talk to them?
Yeah, right.
It could. We have them and we have some other ones that we received from Homeland Security funding that are very similar, so these are more geared towards medical. And I have probably 2, they're close, just under $100,000 for the 2 mannequins that were received from Homeland Security that are trauma mannequins that are bleeding and same high fidelity, but these bleed and have limbs that we could, severed limbs, amputated limbs, blown off limbs. So realistic training as well.
You can't walk, right?
They do not. I'm leaving if they come out of the closet on their own.
One other question, just curious, these are credit courses, correct?
Yes.
Is that college?
Anybody that.
How many credits are associated with each of these?
Anybody that registers as a college student along with being a volunteer, because right now we fall under continuing ed, so they have to work with Jack Robb through the fire science program to transfer their credits over, but they will receive 4 credits for fire, 6 credits for fire 1, 3 credits for hazmat awareness and ops, 3 credits for fire 2, and 8 credits for EMS.
On the EMS side, though, they have to roll specifically for college credits. So there are several different ways that they can. If they choose the college credit option, they would receive the credits, assuming they pass the curriculum.
And we've been working with Jack Robb in the fire science program for the last few years on trying to, I'd say every speech I do at orientation, if you want to be a student, and we try to push them. A lot of the students, like I said, they didn't go to high school, they didn't go to college. They don't really want to pursue an educational background. they just want to be fire.
No, I understand, it's not everybody who wants to do this, but I'm wondering if you are doing it as a student, how much credit you can get, and it's not a question of passing the course, it's a question of passing the test.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is a little complicated because you can take it non-credit, you can take it as part of a fire science degree program, you could be a dual enrollment student, so that's what makes it sometimes a little complicated.
Mike, why don't you just tell them about your fire coordinator role?
In addition, to my job as program coordinator, which I've been doing since 2014, and I've been an instructor since 1992. I'm one of the few original instructors from the fire academy. I also am the county fire coordinator, and that job entails working with all 16 municipalities, making sure each municipality has what's called an active run card that's gonna detail their first, second, third alarm assignments. And then after they get beyond that third alarm assignment, that's when myself and my staff come in and we start backfilling firehouses or getting them resources into that fire scene. That falls under the Fire Service Resource Deployment Act, which was passed in 2003.
How often do you get past the third alarm?
Lot.
Really?
We're
Once a week, right? I mean, it's gotta be once a
we're
week.
close this
Really?
It's
afternoon.
the whole county, really.
Yeah, it's the entire
Well,
county.
you have a county connection, correct, with the county itself?
Yes, I work, I got two bosses. OEM, the director of OEM, and the Division of Fire Safety. And I answer to two bosses.
Yeah, you and I met a long time ago, I don't remember.
Yes,
I was the assistant county counsel
that's.
that serviced the committee that oversaw that, that's why
And,
it's a
you
while
know,
back though.
we go all over the county. Last year I was in West Milford more than I was in any of the cities on fires. It's busy. We go out of county too. Keeps me busy.
Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Please.
Is enrollment steady? Is it growing or is it decreasing in these programs?
We took a dip after COVID, and there wasn't a lot of response, especially, we actually slowed some of the classes down because we were trying to keep the student. Basically, we just didn't want too many students in the classroom. But the last 2 years, student enrollment has gone up. We have waiting lists for Fire One, the career program, like I said. The career program is all dependent on when the departments hire. So Jersey City is one of our big, push. They're hiring like crazy, so they keep coming back to us. We'll gladly take them. With the volunteers, it's a tough sell, but like I said, we're on a waiting list. EMS is on a waiting list.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. COVID was a little difficult. The numbers were low because people were afraid. And at the same time, we were trying to take less enrollment because we didn't know where it was gonna go either. There was a lot of trials and tribulations through that time.
You had to be vaccinated, some people did not want to be
Yeah,
vaccinated.
so the program has gone, our numbers are going back up as well. And the two programs, they're the same but different, obviously, right? But we complement each other. So if I get a career department that want to do EMS and say, hey, listen, they want to go into fire, if they've got a program, they kind of piggyback right into their program. We just recently did that with this class at West Orange, from one to the other and from.
They graduated from fire in June and then went right into EMS, a week and a half, 2 weeks later.
And we've done the opposite from EMS right into fire, that they,
That's fine. How many students per class? Like, what's the max?
Right now, I have 25 students in the Fire One class, and these are all volunteers. And the Fire Two class, I have just 15. And that's pretty much average.
EMS, I've got 35 starting fall in 2 weeks. But now, again, we're a little bit different than fire in terms of governing. We're strictly governed by the state of New Jersey. Our instructor student ratio is strictly monitored. Our hours are strictly monitored. So There's a lot of documentation and dotting of i's and crossing the t's to maintain program.
You have to get a waiver if you change
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
Fire is limited by our resources, so if we have enough instructors, if we have enough burn rooms, if we have enough equipment, we could do up to 100 students. You know, we could put them all in the auditorium there, we could do it, we just don't have enough room up there to do that many students. The most we could probably do at one time is about 50.
Trustee Drakeford seems to have a question.
Yes, hello, everyone. I just have a quick question about the students who are registering to volunteer. So they're coming in under volunteer registration or as a student, but what if they wanted to go into fire safety as a career? Would they be able to go into, like, would they have to provide so many years of service as a volunteer if they've come in and gotten, tuition free teaching and learning, or is there something like that as a part of your program, or in order to get this free tuition, or is this something like that, like in place? Because otherwise I would come in and say I'm a volunteer and get free tuition and then graduate or move on. Now I'm going to make money, as opposed to just volunteering. So is there like a time limit on give back or something like that?
Unfortunately, there is no rollover from being a volunteer going into a career department. Career departments are all governed under civil service, and you have to basically take a test. And you have to live in that jurisdiction. If
Right.
a volunteer comes in from West Milford, they can't be a career firefighter in Patterson unless they move to Patterson during the application period. You take the New Jersey Civil Service test, pass the test, and then have to go back. They may have to go back. Most of the time, they have to go back to the academy again. I took the fire academy in 1999 through West Patterson as a volunteer, and then I went back again as a career in 2006.
Got it.
You can't roll them over one into the other.
EMS is a little bit different. Now, on the EMS side, if they come in, let's say they volunteer for Wayne First Aid Squad, they use a training waiver, they go through the program, and then they say, well, there was a time where Patterson hired civilians, they can come down and get a job, or they can work a private ambulance service. So they can get the training through the training waiver and then go get a job anywhere.
State doesn't ask for the money back.
They do not. Well, if they do, I don't know.
Not yet.
It doesn't impact us, so we're good.
You don't know on earth.
Exactly. Don't ask, don't tell.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll give it.
Yeah, let me know, I'm curious about it.
I'm actually curious now too. I never really.
No, because I'm telling you, when they were talking about building it, that was one of the questions that the freeholders had when they were talking about. Remember, I once mentioned that to you years ago.
Yeah, well, so when the college took over the program, so the academy was in existence before the college had it, the county appropriated money
I
to
know.
the college
Yes, they
for
did.
that. It's,
They didn't have enough to build it, if you recall.
I
That was the.
I do remember.
That was, no, I was the attorney for the committee that oversaw this, and that's why, and that was one of the questions, how much is it gonna cost on a per trainee basis? Because even then, they were talking about not charging volunteers.
Yeah. And they never have, even going back.
No, and
1992,
the college picked that up,
And we
and they did that, and that's a really good thing.
Yes.
Very appreciated, because like I said, the smaller towns, they can't afford to pay for that
No,
stuff.
I know.
It's a big burden.
Yeah, because one time they were talking about volunteers wouldn't pay, and career departments would, and Clifton,
Yeah.
I won't bore you with
Yeah,
it.
they know.
With those all details.
They've heard all the stories.
I won't
Then
try.
you might lose them to other training facilities, that may offer.
Well, that was a big thing, that this county didn't have it.
Yeah.
That was the
Yep,
thing.
I was involved with it on the first aid side, back when the inception of the program.
You were a teenager.
I've been in EMT since '91.
Okay, you're
So-
a teenager.
Keeps you young.
Jason told me he was 11 when I did EMT.
I didn't say that, but. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody. Have a good evening.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay,
Well,
Counselor.
that's it, really.
I asked you all.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we're just trying to get our quorum together right now. We're one short. And Joel has promised that he can join us soon. Soon.
It's almost 7 o'clock, so. Time to make that call.
We need somebody for 5 minutes.
After us, I think it's time to make the call.
They are.
Joe?
Any questions on the purchases of goods and services, or we have the application here for our applying for our Carl Perkins, which is required by the New Jersey Department of Education, and that's why that is in there.
How was your EAP conference? Because I like that.
It was excellent.
They-
Yes, they did.
How's our environmental center?
It is almost finished.
When do you anticipate this at that?
I anticipated a month ago, but it is going slowly, but it is almost finished. It's going well. If any of you have been to Riflecamp Park, they have totally repaved the park. Including all up in the area where our environmental center is, it's beautiful. They did a great job.
Taina Poe and I used to run up there and then they cut off our trail because of the sunshine.
They didn't know, it's around the fence now.
Yeah,
Wow.
we usually used to stretch right there, so.
They used to run right up past it, but now they put it around the fence.
It's
It's a little steep right there.
They did a lot of paving up there. It's really impressive. So we're excited about it. It should be soon.
Still, my truck is, that's what it's.
It's close. I mean, it's.
No,
it's
no,
close.
I'm just,
There's.
you know, I was very impressed with the facility when I.
I should have said it while they're here, these guys, their dedication to, you know, what they do up there. I mean, this is, you can tell this is way more than a job for them. They are committed, you know, to the fire and EMS services, and they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, that's great.
We're
That's
very lucky to have it.
That's something that, you know, that this county didn't have for years, so that's really dedicated guys like that. Yeah.
Really impressed that so many other counties are coming into,
Yeah.
you know,
That's impressive.
this PSA. Yeah.
They used to keep us out. Like the last, or it's also. War of hysteria.
Good product though.
We're waiting for a quorum.
That's three up to wait 10.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. What is it?
We still do that.
Yeah. 20 minutes. 20 minutes and we are out.
We call a special meeting on this.
48 hours.
We thought we had it tonight, so hopefully we still will.
We keep it till 7 o'clock. Next meeting got postponed in the first place.
Yeah, it's,
Right?
the summer meeting has proven to be a challenge sometimes, but this summer has been proven to be even far more of a challenge.
Well, you know what it is, people.
It's once we get a quorum, this will be over
Fast.
very fast.
She mean to you.
I assume no executive session is gonna be.
No, there is not.
She just thinks that she.
I just want to show you what.
Here she is.
Yeah.
All right. That's a record.
Okay,
Six 58.
do we have a motion for the consideration of minute, resolution number 1?
Move it.
Second.
Okay,
We should still look at it.
Trustee Actor,
Yes.
trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
trustee Golden,
Staying.
trustee Diogene,
Yes.
trustee Poe,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
okay. All right, we have action items, resolution number 3, consent resolution. We have the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Grant, purchase of goods and services, and personnel items. Do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
trustee Actor,
Yes.
trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
trustee Golden,
Yes.
trustee Diogene,
Yes.
trustee Poe,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
Any remarks by the public? Any remarks by trustees? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh, I have something to say.
Oh.
We had a great committee meeting, regarding our curriculum and instruction and
Yeah.
document.
Definitely.
Yeah. You guys asked great questions, so it was great.
That's good.
I echo that, and thank you, Dr. Kanivi. In the words of my children, you really rock.
She's gonna tell her children. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
Roll call.
trustee Actor,
Yes.
trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
trustee Golden,
Yes.
trustee Diogene,
Yes.
trustee Poe,
Yes.
trustee Smith.
Yes.
We're adjourned.
Yeah.
You're adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, well, have a great summer all. What's left of it.
Thanks all. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
No, shoot.
Popped in and popped out.